what is the motivation for the CMOs to play ball with these brand owners to be part of this digitalization journey?
I think it needs to be a win-win. That's the key thing. So if you're able to propose something to a trading partner or a CMO that helps them do their business better, right? What you don't want to do is have a win-lose relationship where, listen, I'm getting all this information out, but you're not getting anything. You're only getting me, not bothering you about this. So that may not be enough for them to commit the funds to. Because think about it, if you're a CMO, I may only have one CMO for drug substance, and maybe I have two. The CMO has 100 customers. So if 100 customers come to them and they ask for something different that's outside of their standard process, it's harder for them to do. I mean, within pharma, we're governed by SOPs, right? We don't have a choice. We have to go by the standard operating procedures. If you're
Correct.
changing something for one client, right, maybe you need to change it for others. And that becomes tricky when you're dealing with multiple processes. It can lead to a lot of issues within those CMOs. And this is just my opinion, not what anybody has said, right?
Yep.
So you really need to make it a win-win and be able to say, have this value statement where you're able to say, listen, this is what it does for you in my mind, and this is what it does for me. And it makes this relationship stronger. So, if you're talking forecast, right? Forecast is always kind of the redheaded stepchild in the room because it's always wrong. No matter what you do, no matter where you are, your forecast is incorrect. So, maybe the value proposition is if you're changing things around on a monthly basis, because let's say, for instance, you have a tender, or in generics, you have a new RFP, you have this big new demand coming in, and then all of a sudden it goes away, and then it comes back because you're linked in to your partner's website or their reporting, whether it's an API or it's an EDI, however that feed's coming in. You're getting mixed signals, and you're sending those mixed signals on, so there's no filter in between, right? So maybe that's something where you say, listen, this is a problem that digitization has created. So how do we solve that problem, right? How do we put something in place that now changes that? Because now all of a sudden you're not getting these crazy forecasts from us, and we're able to better look at them, diagnose kind of where the challenges are, smooth them out as necessary, and then provide them to you rather than a straight flow through. So those are type of things where you look at and you say, this is something that can help improve you. And all the changes that your planners have to make on an ongoing basis, the reservation of capacity, the movement of batches in and out. Maybe it's even, you if you're a DP vendor and you need vials, and all of a sudden the demand shoots up, and you're looking for 200 times the vials that you're expecting. You go ahead and place the order with the lead time, whatever else, to get what you need, and then the vendor comes back, or the customer comes back and says, "Oh, I don't need that anymore." Right? So it creates a lot of chaos. So I think making sure that you've identified the problem, and then also in relation to that you've provided a solution and say, listen, I think this is going to solve the problem, but I need you to be on board as well because we're going to change the process.